You want to live a life on fire and on mission. You want to be filled with such conviction and drive that you stop caring about what anyone thinks. You want to face each day alive, authentic, and fully present in every moment. With your wife, with your kids, on the street, at work. You want to bring yourself to the table and to stop bringing the watered-down, nice, what everyone wants version of you. You want that self to be a man who is burning in passion for Jesus, unafraid to bring his kingdom to anyone in your path, no matter what it costs you. You want to love the one in front of you without fear, without needing love back, and without reserve. You want to husband well. You want to father well. You want to shepherd your life well. You want to be a safe pillar for anybody around you. You want to experience God for real, to not just believe, but to know that he's got you and that he'll show up on your behalf, that he'll show up through you. You want to get to the end of your race and say, yep, I gave it everything. Jesus, you know I'm all in. And you want to know just how to get there. Welcome to Man Warrior King. I'm your host, Matt Hallock. Congratulations. You're among the violent taking the kingdom by force. You're among the chosen answering the call to rise above yourself. You're in the forge being stripped down and strengthened, and you will rise stronger, solid, unshakable. You are a man. You're a warrior. You are a king. Well, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the Man Warrior King podcast. I am your host, Matt Hallock. I'm the author of The DNA of a Man and the founder of the Man Warrior King movement. And we are in the business of transforming men's lives so that they can rebuild their minds, their marriages, and their missions in God's kingdom by embracing their God-given masculinity. And it has been quite a while, gentlemen, since I've actually come to you with a new podcast episode. It's been a couple of months, and we have just recently relocated. I'm coming at you from a brand new state of Tennessee, and the relocation is still underway, but it is happening. But I'm glad to get back into producing, putting out content, and letting Jesus use this message of Man Warrior King to bring life change to men who need it, to men who are looking to become more of a man in their homes, more of a man in their world, more of a man on their mission that God has designed them specifically for. And in this episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about toxic passivity and whether or not it's killing your marriage. So many of us men find ourselves in a tricky position because we often come face to face first with a hurting marriage before we come face to face with this enlightened self-realization that we are lacking in some way just on our own, right? It's the pain in the marriage that triggers us to start exploring. And a vulnerability that many men can have is that they start to look how to fix the marriage. They start arguing, begging, whining with their wives to get their wives to change. And they don't always look inward first. So today we're going to be looking inward. We're going to be holding a mirror up to ourselves and seeing how is it that we are killing our marriage in this very, very, very toxic pattern. And I want to show you, this is not just me making this up. This is straight from the Bible. All right, there is a family history in the Bible that conveys this in an absolutely terrible way. All right, so I'm gonna take you through 3 generations and show you this same pattern over and over again. So, first one, Abraham. Back in Genesis, all the way back in Genesis chapter 12, we see Abraham, who was at that time called Abram, go into the land of Egypt. All right, in Genesis 12, verse 10, it says, there was a famine in his land. So he went down to Egypt to sojourn there because the famine was severe in his own land. And when he was about to go into Egypt, he said to Sarah, or Sarai at that time, who was his wife, I know that you're a woman who is beautiful in appearance. And when the Egyptians see you, they're going to say, oh, that's his wife. Then they're going to kill me, but they're going to let you live. So here's his idea. Okay, this is his plan to solve that problem. He says, say that you're my sister so that it may go well with me because of you, and that my life may be spared for your sake. Are you kidding me? Abram is so cowardly and so concerned about what these other people are going to think of him that he is willing not only to lie, but to give up his marriage to Sarai in order to spare his own life. I mean, this is an extreme example here. But how many of us, you guys, have been in a position where some kind of circumstance happens, some kind of event, something or other that involves other people, and we're so concerned about saving face, saving our own face. We're so concerned about preserving ourselves in the eyes of other people who don't even really matter in the long run, that we are willing to put our life on, our wife on the line. We're willing to put our wife on the line so that we look better. This is exactly what Abram's doing in this passage. He says, hey, tell them you're my sister, because if they think you're my wife, they're going to kill me and take you. Let's just have them take you anyway, without killing me. And this is supposed to be him acting as a man. This is supposed to be him honoring his wife. This is supposed to be him bold, strong, courageous, a man of character and valor and principle, a man on mission. No way. But this isn't the only time he does it. Watch. If we go a few chapters over, Genesis chapter 20. We find him again. Now it's not in Egypt, it's in the land of Gerar. And he's going into this new land, and he says to Sarah, who is now Sarah, she's changed from Sarai to Sarah. He says, Sarah, this woman is my sister. Right? So he thought this went well for him before. In Egypt, he said, hey, let's say you're my sister, whatever. The Egyptians were about to take her as their own when they realized that she was actually his wife. And they were like, dude, what the heck are you doing? You are going to let us take your wife? Get out of here. And now here it is in chapter 20. He's got the same idea. And he tells these people in the land of Gerar that she's my sister. And Abimelech, the king there, took her. But God visited Abimelech in this dream and said, no, don't do this. She's Abraham's wife. Okay? So we have two instances in the life of Abraham where he has put his wife on the line in order to appease other people. And now we come to the next generation, Isaac. And it's just a couple of chapters later. In chapter 26, Isaac also going to the land of Gerar. This is chapter 26, verse 7. When the men of that place asked him about his wife, Isaac said, "Oh, she's my sister," because he feared to say his wife, thinking lest the men of the place should kill me because of Rebekah. Because Rebekah was attractive in appearance. This time, God didn't visit these people to warn them. This time, the king Abimelech looks out his window and says, "Oh, I can see Isaac and Rebekah interacting. That's not brother and sister. They're husband and wife. I'm not doing this thing." So he confronts Isaac and says, "Hey, she's your wife. How could you say she's your sister?" So Isaac replied, "Well, I thought I might die because of her." And Abimelech said, "What is this you have done to us? One of the people might easily have lain with her, and you would have brought guilt on us." So Abimelech warned all the people, saying, "Whoever touches this man or his wife will surely be put to death." Are you kidding me? So this is what happens when we are toxically passive. This is what happens when we play nice guy. For whatever reason, I'm not going to pretend to tell you why, but for whatever reason, when we are under this nice guy persona where we're wanting to make anyone and everyone else happy, usually when we're faced with our wife and other people in front of us, we will work to make those other people happy at the expense of our wife's well-being. For whatever reason that is, I don't know. When this doesn't involve other people and it's just us and her, the nice guy is always wanting to make her happy and try to figure her out so that he can get what he wants. But when someone else enters the picture, she's the easy one to hurt rather than make anybody else uncomfortable. And what happened here is that when Isaac was playing the nice guy, when Abraham was playing the nice guy, he actually put everybody else at risk. Because the people told him, they said, "What do you think you're doing? We could have brought guilt upon ourselves because of this that you've done." See, when we try to make everybody happy, when we try to appease other people, we're not doing them any favors. We're putting them at risk. We're opening ourselves, our families, our wives, and these other people up for pain, for trouble, for difficulty. We got to be men of character, right? And this started with Abraham. He did this twice. He did it once where he lied about his wife in the very same location, Gerar, that now his son is doing about his wife. And I don't know if it's the same Abimelech or if it's the son of the previous king or whatever, but both kings are named Abimelech from one generation to the next. Talk about God visiting the sins of the father to the third and fourth generation. And next, look at what happens in the third generation with this passivity. This is now a different form of passivity, but it's still, it's rooted in the same sin. It's the same family pattern. Genesis chapter 34 talks about a horrible story, the defiling of Dinah, who was one of Jacob's daughters. So Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Abraham is Jacob's grandfather. Dinah would be Abraham's great-granddaughter. So she is the daughter of Jacob. And in chapter 34 at the beginning it says, when Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, the prince of the land, saw her, he seized her and he lay with her, and he humiliated her, and his soul was drawn to her. He loved her and spoke tenderly to her. So he spoke to his father Hamor, saying, "Get me this girl for my wife." So this man, Shechem, saw Dinah, Jacob's daughter, and he just raped her. He took her forcefully. Not okay. Not okay. And Jacob heard that he had defiled his daughter, but his sons were with his livestock in the field, so Jacob held his peace until they came. So first of all, when Jacob hears this, he's not doing anything about it. He's waiting. He's holding his peace until somebody else comes along, like his sons. And it says that the sons of Jacob came in from the field as soon as they heard this thing, and they were indignant and very angry, because this man Shechem had done an outrageous thing in Israel by lying with their sister, and such a thing must not be done. So it goes on, and the dad of this dude, Shechem, tries to get Dinah to be given as the wife. And in verse 13 it says, the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and his father Hamor deceitfully, because they didn't want to work with them. So they were going to lie to these guys. And they told Shechem and his dad, we can't do this thing to give our sister to one who's uncircumcised, for that would be a disgrace. Only on this condition will we agree with you, that you'll become as we are, every male among you being circumcised. Then we will give our daughters to you. So they're lying to them. They're saying, hey, we can't give Dinah to you in marriage until you guys get circumcised. So do that, and then we will. All right, so Hamor and his son Shechem, the guy who took her forcefully, they said, okay, well, we'll do this. So they circumcised themselves and everybody with them, right? It's a crazy story. And it says then in verse 25, on the third day when all these men were sore from the operation, two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, took their swords and came against this whole city while it felt secure and killed all the males. So they got these men to weaken themselves, to get sore and painful. And then on that third day, they came in when everyone felt like everything was okay, and they killed them. They wiped them out. These are Jacob's sons, remember, right? Not Jacob himself. And they plundered the city. They took their flocks and herds and donkeys, whatever was in it. So they basically worked this intense revenge. Now, obviously, there's some problems with how they chose to handle the situation. But look at what Jacob did. It says, Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, you have brought trouble on me by making me stink to the inhabitants of the land. My numbers are few, and if they gather themselves against me and attack me, I will be destroyed, both I and my household. But the sons of Jacob said, well, should they treat our sister like a prostitute? Do you see the passivity that Jacob is walking in here? See, this started with his grandfather, who was willing to give up his wife to save his own butt. Then Isaac did the same thing, the same exact thing, in the same exact place, with a king with the same exact name. Now Jacob, third generation, inheriting this passivity. Somebody defiles his own daughter, and he's not even on record as speaking out against it on her behalf. He's only on record worrying about himself, telling his sons, now I'm going to stink to these inhabitants, worrying about what the people of the land thought of him more than about his daughter's own health and well-being. Am I saying he should have condoned murdering everybody? No. So that's not the point. The point is the incredible passivity that he's showing on behalf of his daughter here. So what about you? Do you ever find yourself in these situations where you are afraid to speak up, you're afraid to correct somebody, you're afraid to stand up for your wife or even your own kids because you don't want to make someone who is a guest in your home, who you're walking by, like stopping and talking to out on the neighborhood street or whatever, you don't want to make them uncomfortable, so you allow them to say something rude, to say something mean, to maybe ignore your children when they're talking, because you don't want to make things uncomfortable. You wouldn't want to say, "Oh, excuse me for a moment. My daughter was talking. Let's hear what she has to say." You ever been in that situation where instead of honoring your daughter, you just let her get ignored and you keep listening to the adult? Gentlemen, we need to uproot this passivity from our lives. We need to let this thing get out. We need to find the whatever you want to call it, the strength, the grit, the boldness, the balls to stand up to some people, to make other people uncomfortable so that we can defend our wife, so that we can defend our family, so that we can honor them. Maybe it's not even as extreme as defend, so just so that we can honor them. This is especially a vulnerability when we are dealing with people in a position of that we respect, that we look up to, whether it's a supervisor at work, saying, being a yes man at work when you're already committed to your wife that you would be home early this day. Maybe it's with your pastor, wanting to impress your pastor. Put on some kind of a facade and a fake face while you're around him at church. Meanwhile, you're not giving your wife the time of day. Whatever it is, it's got to stop. Passivity, there is no place for it in the kingdom. There's no place for it in a man of God. And you want your marriage to be whole and healthy, then it's time you start putting her above these other people. It's time she see you fight for her. It's time she experience what it's like to have a man stand on her behalf, to stand on her side. Even to his own hurt. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't honor yourself, but it means you honor her above these other people who really don't matter that much in the long run. I want to encourage you, choose her. And I know, for many of us, there are so many other ifs, ands, buts, but you don't know my situation and all of that. I understand. I understand there's a time and place for you to speak up to her as well, that you can be passive towards her, that you can be passive in your marriage when it's just the two of you, and that can be damaging as well. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you go out into the world, is it you and her versus everybody else, or is it you and everybody else versus her? If it's the latter, I challenge you to examine yourself, to go before the Lord and ask him, how could I have become this way? How could I let this happen in my heart? It's a sign of weakness. It's not strength. It's a sign of weakness. And it's time we stop. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining me for this episode of the Man Warrior King podcast. Stay tuned. In the coming weeks, we are going to be launching another round of the Ranks of Adullam Life Change Group Transformation Initiative, where we go from weak, passive, discouraged, and depressed to confident men who know who we are and know where we're going. It's coming shortly. And if you haven't picked it up yet, make sure to pick up your copy of The DNA of a Man. It's going to change your life. Peace, gentlemen. This is Matt Hallock signing off and thanking you again for being a part of the Man Warrior King community. If you want more, head over to manwarriorking.com. And please remember to take just a couple seconds to subscribe on iTunes and to leave a 5-star rating and a review so that more and more men can join us as we become awesome. You are a kingdom man. Go out, take more ground, push back darkness. Remember, you bring value into your home, your work, and your circle. You are not a taker, you are a giver. Abundance is your atmosphere.